The Harry Potter books have so many characters in, with so many different storylines and things like that, so it's completely understandable that we couldn't have every character from the books in the movies. But here are the 5 that I wish we'd got to see. So the first 2 that I'm going to talk about are Peeves, the Poltergeist, and the Fat Friar. So we know that Peeves is mischievous. He causes a lot of trouble. Sometimes he does it in a fun way, or what he would be a fun way. Other times it is to cause stress to our protagonist. Sometimes his name is even taken in vain, where someone will pretend to do something as Peeves to get another character out of trouble. So we do see him pop up a lot throughout the books, but unfortunately his character didn't make it to the actual movies. He plays a really humorous role in the books, and it's always fun to read about him. You just don't know what he's going to do next. He's always a little bit of a wild card, I would say. So it would have been really great to see him, but I'm wondering if they didn't feel that he fit into the movie's narrative. Maybe he didn't quite gel with the seriousness. Maybe it would be too jarring to have a character that wild and that mischievous. But it would have been fun to see anyway. The other ghost I would have liked to have seen was the Fat Friar. Now he is not pivotal to the story at all. He's more just a friendly Hufflepuff who was executed because he was able to heal people magically. He adds character to Hogwarts, and it would have been nice to, even if he didn't have any lines, to maybe see him in the background. After all, we do see the Gryffindor ghost. Now I understand that we do that because Gryffindor is one of the main houses, and we see the Bloody Baron because, again, one of the main houses. But it would have been nice even just to have him in the background, that the Hufflepuffs are being acknowledged. Whilst we're on the subject of ghosts, another storyline I would have liked to have seen was more around Nearly Headless Nick. So the whole scene with that party where he's trying to get into the Headless Hunt, I quite liked that scene. It gave a bit more depth to Harry, a bit more depth to the background of Nearly Headless Nick. And also things like the rotting food and stuff would have been quite cool to see, but maybe they thought it didn't have a place in the movies. But maybe things I wish they'd done, other scenes, is for another video. Moving on to the third character that I wish we'd seen, and that's Winky the House Elf. So we meet Winky in the stands at the Quidditch World Cup. She is keeping a seat for Barty Crouch. She's terrified of heights. She doesn't want to be there, but she's fiercely loyal. When she gets a job in Hogwarts kitchens with Dobby, he doesn't understand why she's so miserable, why she is constantly crying and upset, and she just wants to go home. She does play a significant role in the Goblet of Fire around the Triwizard Tournament, but also around Barty Crouch being under the Imperius Curse. So it would have been quite cool to explore that, or again, even to just see her CGI'd in. I appreciate CGI costs money, so maybe that's why they didn't do it. But she does come through in the other books as well, so it would have been nice to have had a bit more elf backstory. If you watch my recent video around things I wish were explored more, I do talk a bit about, you know, how the elves were treated. Maybe they could have expanded a bit more into other elves, and those elves that were so fiercely law that even when they were freed, they didn't want to be. Another character where they basically changed the entire plot line to exclude this character was Professor Binns. So Professor Binns is the ghost who teaches history of magic. They say that he fell asleep in the staff room one day, got up and left his body behind, and he teaches as a ghost. He's very boring. Harry often either drifts off or he goes into a daydream about other things while Binns is talking. I believe in the Chamber of Secrets, Binns is the one who actually talks about it, as opposed to McGonagall. So they did completely change that to fit in with an existing character. The lectures that he does do often give a lot of historical context around Hogwarts and the Wizarding World, so again that would have been a really nice thing to see, but for whatever reason the filmmakers decided not to do that, so we don't see Binns at all. And the last one I'm just going to touch on is Bertha Jorkins. So she was an employee of the Ministry of Magic, and she's mentioned in the Goblet of Fire as being murdered by Voldemort. Now, from memory, I believe that she's the one who is a little bit ditzy, so I just believe she got lost on holiday, and I also think they adjusted her memory so that she couldn't say certain things if she ran into someone that she shouldn't. The story in the books talks about how she was tricked and manipulated, and it gives additional context to the Triwizard Tournament, but again, this was completely left out of the films, so we don't see anything around her, we just hear her mentioned briefly, but that is it. But those guys are the 5 characters that I would love to have seen in the actual movies, but we didn't see, unfortunately. Now hopefully we'll have maybe some of these characters in the TV show that is coming out in 2026, I want to say, so fingers crossed for that. I'm looking forward to seeing what it is they actually do with that storyline. Let me know what characters you wish were included in the films, or characters that you think were put in that really didn't need to be. That I'm also curious about. Until next time though guys, you take care.